It's time to get moving, Toledo. Sponsored by 3D Wellness. For all things health and wellness in and around the Glass City, here's your host, Jim Poole.
Good morning. Welcome to Get Moving Toledo, the show that's all about health and wellness. Our job is to inform you of what's out there. Everybody has different goals with their fitness and their health and their well-being. We just want to let you know that Toledo has so much to offer, and we want people to know that there's a lot of options for you. It's not just, I got to get a gym membership and I've got to go to the gym every day. There's a lot out there. So what I hope to do with Get Moving Toledo is just kind of expose you to the things that are out there, to the experts in the industry, to different people, business owners around in and around Toledo, and see what we can do. Let's have some fun with it, and let's get everybody moving. First off, welcome to 2020. It's a new beginning for everyone. I hope everybody had a great holiday season. It's a fun time of year, but it's always hectic. There's always running around, whether it's multiple parties, office parties, shopping. Everybody's in a hurry. Nobody has any patience. And, it's one of those things where sometimes your fitness and your own personal goals get lost in the shuffle. I'm hoping that everybody got that out of their system. And, as the new year starts, you make up New Year's resolutions and you say, I want to do this for myself, or I want to get better. I want to organize myself. I want to do my checking account better. I want to pay my bills on time. I want to, just do things. I want to call friends. I want to be more in contact with my community, my circle. Everybody has different goals. Everybody sets different resolutions. But the first thing I want to talk to you about today is goals. It's a new year. Everybody wants to make a New Year's resolution. Sometimes they shoot for the moon, and they put a list together of 20 topics, and they say, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. It's not realistic. I mean, I think reality is, set 3 goals for yourself this year. I've probably got more than 3 myself, so I'm not really practicing what I preach, but I think if you're talking about your fitness and your well-being, set 3 goals. I'd like to do a number of things, but I'm going to narrow it down to 3 goals, and I'll get to those a little bit later on in the show. A lot of goals are made. I want to join a gym. So you go to the gym, anybody that's a gym member, whether it's at the YMCA or Planet Fitness or Fitness for All or any of the other gyms in the area, you go on January 2nd or 3rd, the first day that they're open after the holiday weekend, and it's packed. You're waiting for machines. There's people waiting to get a drink. They're buying shirts. They're getting the hats, and they're all geared up, ready to go and get in shape. And then you come in on February 1st, about 27 days later, and it's a ghost town. And everybody's motivated at first, but there's also a lot of intimidation. So what I want to do is really just kind of break it down. I've got a guest coming in a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit about some things that you can do to keep you motivated, keep you active, and take off little chunks at a time and achieve the goals that you want. So where do you start with your goals? As I said a little bit ago, small, measurable, attainable goals are really what we want to do. There's a lot of statistics out there that say write stuff down. If you write it down, post it where you can see it, whether it's on the bathroom mirror, on the refrigerator, in your car, in your office, on your desk, computer screen. If you look at it repeatedly, you have much more of a higher percentage of accomplishing those goals. And these are little things. I'm one of those guys, my wife, Kelly, and I, you'll hear me refer to Kelly all the time. She's my wife, and we're 2 polar opposites when it comes to some of this stuff. We go to the grocery store. I'm like, let's wing it. And I get the cart, and I'm like the little kid. I got my feet up. I'm pushing. I got the momentum going down the aisle. And I'm like, we need this. We need this. We need this. We got to get dog bones. We need this. We need that. And she's got a list. The first thing that she taught me actually about shopping with a grocery list is you save an infinite amount of money. So that to me is a goal for 2020 is to make sure that I have a list when I go to the store. She'll tell me to stop and get milk, and I'll come home with a cart full of groceries. So, those are things that everything that you do in terms of writing things down, it helps you to accomplish those goals. And those specific goals, you got to be specific. A lot of times people use time as an excuse. I'm busy. I've got a full-time job. I've got kids I've got to run all over town. We've got pets. We've got this. We've got that. And there's a million excuses of why you cannot accomplish the goals that you set for yourself. What I'm telling you is you can carve out 30 minutes a day to get some exercise in. And exercise doesn't have to come in the form of let's go to the gym and lift weights or run on the treadmill or whatever. You can, if you want to, if it starts with just walking and you say 30 minutes is too much, my day's packed. As soon as I get off work, I got to pick the kids up. I've got one has to go to practice, one has to go to piano practice, one has to go to athletic practice. Then I've got to get dinner on the table, and then I've got to get them baths. They've got to do homework, and they've got to go to bed, or whatever the scenario is in your household. 30 minutes is easy for everybody. And if you have to take that 30 minutes, I'll take it a step further. Break it down. Break it down into 3 10-minute walks if that's what you have to do. The main thing is that, the theme of the show is Get Moving Toledo. It doesn't take a lot to get moving. I think really, as you'll see as we talk over the next days, weeks, months, with all the people that we're going to have on the show and all the different topics, is it really doesn't take a lot to zero in on what you want to do. If your goal is to lose weight, okay, how do you start that? Okay, we're going to look at your nutrition aspect. We're going to look at what am I doing to exercise and how can I burn some calories? There's a lot of different angles that you can attack this, and it doesn't have to be intimidating. I said a little bit earlier when we first started about when you start in the gym on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd of January, right after the holiday, it's always going to be packed, and people are in there, and it's all in the year's resolution. Trust me when I tell you this. Everybody's in there looking to get in shape. Well, again, half of those people are looking at everybody that's in there already, and they're intimidated before they've even touched a weight, asked for any assistance, got on a treadmill, got on an elliptical, whatever, and you won't see them in 30 days, unfortunately. The other half will hang around for another half a month to a month, and 15 of them will fall off. So then you'll have 15 people out of, let's say, 100 that have come from January 1st that stay committed. The idea here is to let's make all of these goals that you set attainable, and let's take the fear factor out of it. We're going to come back in a second here, and we're going to talk to my guest, Jay from Garmin. He's a good friend of mine. We've known each other and worked together for a number of years. And we're going to talk a little bit about how technology can help you attain some of these goals when we come back. All right, everybody knows Garmin watches, and it's synonymous with the running industry and running and runners. But I want to take a little bit different approach today and introduce you to some different technology aspects of the Garmin company. And I brought somebody in to tell us about that. So Jay Moncel is here. Hey, Jay, what's going on?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Jay
is our area rep for Garmin here in the Toledo, Northwest Ohio area. I know you cover a much broader swath of land than that, but nonetheless, we've known each other for quite a while with my work with Dave's Running, that you come in there and you take good care of us, and you've taken good care of me. I'm rocking one of the watches today. But like I said, it's synonymous. Garmin is synonymous with the running industry. And it's probably where you've gotten the most bang for your buck in terms of the advertising. But tell us a little bit about, there's a broader approach here. I mean, it's in aviation, it's in marine time, it's in hiking. Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes people forget that we're broad channel, right? So we've got products in a lot of different categories. If it's dog collars, if it's golf, if it's handheld hiking devices. We're in a lot of different categories, but like you said, we are also in marine. That makes up one of our big pillars of the company. We're big into aviation. We're big into automotive OEM. But then there's a separate category that's specific for wellness and fitness. And that's primarily what I work with. It's been an amazing company to work for, and the products are super fun to work with. But for me, I'm kind of a wellness geek like you, right? We're into fitness and exercise, so the watches that we use for the sports that we do are kind of like a companion, right? They don't just track our whereabouts and our speed and our distance, but they're also a daily tracker as well. So we're going to get our steps counted, we're going to have our stress monitored, we're going to have our sleep monitored. We can monitor calorie intake and all different types of wellness. So if you're thinking about what you talked about earlier in terms of a 2020 resolution. This product is a great way to kind of keep you company during that and keep you on track, essentially. So it's kind of fun.
So I got a whole host of things I want to ask you, but sure. I'm going to backstep here for a second because you brought up the sleep aspect. So you obviously know Kelly, my wife. She's obsessed with the sleep angle of the watch. So explain that a little bit to people, just because, there's a lot with, diet and exercise are essential to your well-being, but people don't really know the emphasis you need to put on sleep. So talk about that a little bit.
You know, it's interesting too, because my wife and I talk about that as well. You know, being athletes, I think sometimes, you know, certain people tend to neglect the most important part of fitness, and that's the rest. And sleep is a very, very important part of that. You know, Garmin is able to, if you wear this during sleep, it has movement detection to it, but all of our watches now have what's called wrist-based or optical heart rate. So during your sleep, the watch is going to sense movement, and it's going to sense an elevation or a decrease in your heart rate during your sleep. And so it can kind of monitor where you've had deep sleep versus restless sleep. And throughout those days, if you go back and look at that data, you can kind of figure out if you need to make any changes during your sleep so that you can get more rest. I've actually kind of become obsessed with this graph on my app just to determine, hey, did I get good rest last night? Do I need to take it easy today or call it an early night on the next day because I didn't get good rest the night before? So it's really cool.
So let's touch on that, the app.
Yeah.
So Garmin Connect, you know, nowadays everybody's connected. They have, you know, iPhone or whatever else they've got. But Garmin Connect is an app that you download, and it syncs up to your watch. And when I tell you guys it can do everything but run, walk, ride the bike, swim in the pool for you, it really, truly can. You know, as Jay said, it monitors your heart rate, whether it's resting or active. It monitors your sleep patterns, your quality sleep or your REM sleep, I guess they call it. And it just does a ton of different things. How has Garmin Connect kind of revolutionized people's approach to, I know from a runner's perspective, you know, I say it all the time, whether it's in the store or just when we're with our running family, runners are lunatics by nature. Like if you give them too much information, they ask, well, can I get some more?
Right.
So, you know, sometimes the devil is in the details, and sometimes it can be overload for people that are beginning, and that's not what we want to do here. But I want people to know that, you know, there's an app for everything, but there's an app for getting yourself in shape and attaining your goals. So where does Garmin Connect fit in when it comes to us today talking about your goals for 2020, and not necessarily the competitive athlete, but the person that says, I need to lose weight, or I need to do something. In 2019, I think I drove by the gym 1,000 times, but I never pulled into the gym. And I don't necessarily mean that you have to go to the gym, but I mean, what can you do when it comes to the technology that Garmin brings to the table that will help you and motivate you more than anything to keep you moving and help you attain those goals?
It's a great question, and I'm going to take it kind of in a two-part answer. I mean, first of all, you've got the product itself, the hardware, right? That's the watches. And then I think sometimes what gets forgotten about is the app itself. So I always tell people like you, I mean, the app is just as important as the watch, right? Because everything that you do on the watch is captured on the device, and then the watch will sync to the app on your phone, and then you can move that data over to the app so that you can analyze that data in a cleaner format, in a better picture. The way that this can help you with your goals and keep you from driving past the gym, right, and keep you motivated, that's one of my weaknesses, is staying motivated, is if you're working with a coach, or if you're working with a group, or if you just need something for yourself, or maybe you don't know who to go to get information. Once you sign up for Garmin Connect and you pair your device to the app, within the app, there are coaching services that you can log on to, or if that's too much for you, you can go to somebody like yourself or another coach, and that coach can then kind of lay out a schedule for you, right, of activities or different training plans that they've, you know, written together with you so that you can achieve your goals, and then you can plug those into the app and then essentially have those training programs and those plans moved over to your watch, right? And then if on, you know, let's say December 20th, you know, my plan, because my coach indicates that I need to go run for 30 minutes and then go lift weights or whatever, you can have that on your watch and then go do those workouts. So it's really a motivator to say, hey, today is this plan and this workout based on what my calendar says. And it can sync to the watch. And just that alone, I mean, knowing that workout is in there and you got to stay on track is motivation enough for me to you know, keep going to the gym. So
I agree. I mean, I love the fact that you can put small goals in there. You can put a 10-minute walk, as I talked about a little bit earlier, you know, breaking down 30 minutes of exercise into 3 10-minute segments. You can put that in there. You can swim, you can bike, you can hike. I mean, talk about the different. It's not just about going to the gym. It's about there's a million things. If you just want to count your steps, and you want to set the goal as I want to do, I don't know, 30,000 steps today, or 10,000 steps, or 1,000 steps. You can set those goals in there, and you can track. It allows you to track, again, like I said, information is the mother of all evils when it comes to fitness, but it can give you all kinds of things to keep you going and keep you motivated and on track. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Jay a little bit more about technology and how it can help us attain our goals in 2020 after we pay some bills, and we'll be right back on Get Moving Toledo. We're back. Welcome back to Get Moving Toledo. My guest, Jay Moncel from Garmin, is here, and we were talking about, as we left for the break, about how Garmin's technology can help you with small attainable goals, not just for the competitive or the elite or the professional athlete even, but just the everyday Joe that wants to set some goals, get in shape, or just become more active and less sedentary. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, just like with the product itself, I mean, we don't have just high-end product for the advanced user. We've got products that are for the entry-level user as well. And I think within the app and some of the different things that the watch can monitor and track, there's also going to be, the entry-level program and coaching service that's available through the app that you can use, as well as if, again, like we had talked before, if a coach is instructing somebody who's just getting in and maybe they want to run their first 5K, right? Or maybe they just want to get off the couch and be able to walk around the block for the first time. There is all of that data available within the app, and the watch can be used again. They just have to program that stuff in. It's really pretty easy to do, and for all level of users are in there.
So sports.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I said, running is very well known synonymous with Garmin.
Yeah.
What are all the sports that Garmin has a little bit of a hand in terms of, could I go mountain climbing, and is there something that connects to that and gives me data?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, some of the other big activities that are preloaded within the watch and within the software from the app, cycling is a big category for us. We also are one of the only companies that can combine swimming, cycling, and running to do multi-sport and triathlon. So those are all pre-programmed into the watches, but there is a whole list of other pre-programmed activities that are in, nearly all of the watches. So you could do a backcountry hike, you can do a mountain climb, you can do rowing, kayaking is in there. Some of the cool new hot features that are in the watch right now is yoga and Pilates. And another thing that people tend to overlook in the watch is that there's a weightlifting mode in there. It'll actually count your reps when you go to the gym. It is really cool. And when you see that for the first time, you want to talk about a motivator, man. That's going to get you motivated.
So we're telling people that we want them to get moving, but then yet we've got an app that counts their reps so they don't have to do any thinking either.
Right.
We're taking all the variables out of this, and we're like, look, we're going to do everything but lift the weight for you.
Pretty much.
But no, I think it's really neat to the fact that, people they want easy. It's an instant gratification society. Yeah. I mean, we talked about when we go shopping, Kelly is let's have a list and let's stick to it. I'm more like shiny quarter. Let's just put our arms out and whatever comes off the shelf and falls in the cart, that's what we're getting today. Yeah. But, it's a lazy society, really, because of technology. They have the click list now at the grocery store, which I refuse to do. I don't care how big a hurry I'm in. I'm not going to have somebody else pick my groceries. And I know this because I've actually been in the store and I see the pick list people have these like fancy carts that they push around. It's not your normal grocery cart. So they're walking to the store and I'll see them and they've got their list that they're shopping for other people. And I'll stop and I'm like, hey, do you know where the ramen noodles are or whatever I might ask them for? They don't know where anything is. Like, they're not necessarily store employees. They're like hired hands to just shop for others. So they're confused as everybody else. Right. So I'm like, I'm not going to have somebody do that. I want to at least go in and I don't need that much help, with certain things. But, there's a thing where if you go grocery shopping, the difference between click list is you pull up, you pick it up, you put it in your car. You go shopping, you can count your steps. I mean, those are simple things. You don't have to have a membership. You don't have to, go to GNC. You don't have to go with all these, get supplements and everything else. You can go and count your steps and say, all right, I got 15,000 steps today. I want to get 20 tomorrow, or whatever that number is.
Well, I mean, that's just it. I mean, like we had talked about earlier, the watch is a motivator. I mean, anything that I can do to get more steps, because now I've got a step goal every day, right? The watch is going to remind you, hey, here's today's step goal. And if I need to go grocery shopping, right, just to walk around the store to get my steps for the day, then that's us moving. You know, the whole premise here, again, Get Moving Toledo, I want to get moving. I need something to keep me motivated. You know, when you're at the gym and you see the coaches working with the people that are at the gym, they're the ones that are on track and on the program, and that coach is with them the whole time. If you think about the watch, it's kind of a virtual coach. I mean, you might be working with somebody real time, but when they're not there, they're still kind of with you on the watch, giving you your workout to do. So it's definitely a motivator to keep you on point. And I can tell you right now, I wouldn't be in the gym if it wasn't for this reminding me to go.
Yeah, I mean, it really has changed the way a lot of people look at their personal physical fitness, and the technology has evolved to the point now where, you know, we joke that it does everything but lift the weight for you, but it really is. It takes out all the factors that most people don't think about. I mean, it tells you, yeah, we are going to count the reps, and as much as you know, some people like to listen to music when they work out, or they cycle, or they run, or they walk, or whatever, or they've got their dogs and they're not paying that close attention. I mean, these things have voice activated, you know, reminders. They have music reminders. They have dings, bells, whistles, whatever. I think that's the kind of thing that, you know, we want to use for, you know, to keep attaining our goals, or at least chasing our goals, so to speak.
Well, and to that point too, I think everybody has different things that motivate them, right? So you might have something that, you know, gets you moving during the day differently than I do. And I think what Garmin has done is they've tried to think about those different things and incorporate those into the device. So, you know, just as an example, I know that for some runners, they like having a metronome, right, to kind of have them, you know, guide their pace. And, you know, so we've got all that stuff. We've tried to think about it all.
Well, I appreciate you being here, man.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I had a good time.
So we've talked about a lot of things today. We talked about getting started, setting goals. So I'm going to give you a little homework for this first show. I want you to write down 3 goals. I don't think I've even told you this, but I'll tell you briefly that my goal for 2020 is I'm going to run 100 miles.
Whoa.
In one setting.
Nice.
Start in the morning, finish the next morning, whatever it takes. But I'm going to do a 100-mile race and finish it that way. So write down 3 goals, act on them, and until next time, get moving, Toledo.